to do this.
Well, the laws of the land tells us all what we have to do, basically.
That doesn't make it right.
Well, I agree with that, but
the Supreme Court goes outside the Constitution. That doesn't make the Supreme Court right, does it?
Don't you believe to have an affluent society, we've all, chose to live in a society together, don't you believe that to preserve that society that we need laws of the land? That's why we have a society. And we cannot make exception to these laws just because a person happens to be black or white, don't you?
So there, Mr. Brown sets a precedent of his own. So, in order to have an organized society of individuals who have different thoughts and different opinions about different subjects, there has to be laws that govern the welfare of each individual involved in the society. And those laws cannot be arbitrarily dismissed based upon a condition that a particular person has. In this case, it's the ethnic group of a person. Now, they're saying race, and some of you may be okay with that term, but I choose the term ethnic group because there's only one human race, and all of us are a part of it, even though we do share some very distinct differences. We're all one race. So let's keep going.
We've got most of these laws because we don't abide by the laws of God, though. And so we try to go against the laws of God and against the laws of nature, and we say, well, you're inferior, and you're not going to be able to meet with success in education or in your social life, even in your religious life, unless you do it with another race. And this teaches inferiority to me. And it's wrong, and it's criminal, and it's cruel to teach any one person that he is inferior to another race or his race is inferior.
But as governor of the state of Georgia, did you go by the laws of God or by the laws of the state?
I go by the laws of God and by the laws of the state.
As you see fit.
What is...
No, sir, not as I say.
So, there again, as we mentioned, logical, reasonable debate. So, we've already established two things. We've established that Governor Maddox is saying that it's criminal, unconstitutional, to force a person to segregate or to force a person to integrate. That was the first precedent. The second precedent was made by Mr. Brown when he said that in a society of people who have chosen to live together, there has to be order, therefore there has to be rules, laws that govern how we interact with each other so that society can continue to move forward and progress. So, the logical determination then is that since we have these laws that govern the way that we interact with each other, and those laws are geared toward helping us to proceed as a society, then those laws need to be adhered to regardless of our personal preference. And then you see Mr. Maddox inject the thought of obeying God, the laws of God, as opposed to the laws of men. So now, is that an objective way to an approach? Because now, different individuals have different views as to what is required of them from their creator. That's subjective. What we're talking about here is a situation where they're debating the rule of law. Something that has been written down, cold, hard fact. It's not anything that's subjective. This is the law. And as an individual who wants to be a part of an orderly society, wouldn't it be wise to abide by the laws that have been put in place? Let's keep going.
I just want to ask the governor, when you say it's morally wrong, integration, I believe that's what you said, or it's
I said forced segregation or forced integration, racial integration or forced racial segregation. They're both morally wrong, cruel, and they're in violation of the United States Constitution, which is the law of the land, not the Supreme Court ruling that denies the Constitution.
You know, I assume you know Dr. Billy Graham.
Sir?
I said, you know Dr. Billy
Yes,
Graham?
sir.
He was here last night, and he said that racial prejudice is also morally wrong. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yes, sir. I think racial prejudice is wrong. Yes, sir.
So now, why did Mr. Cavett, this is his show, why did he make it a point to bring out this particular segment of information? Well, we have the authority in regards to secular matters is the law, right? And in regards to matters that involve religion, individuals, especially in this context, they trust that their religious leaders can set the precedent for them as to how they should act and think and behave. So Mr. Cavett is saying that even from a moral standpoint, and as we mentioned, since he brought God into the situation, then quite naturally then religion would dictate morality. And so here you have a religious leader that's saying that racial prejudice, one of the main causes of racial segregation, is morally wrong. So from religion's standpoint, racial prejudice is not acceptable. So on both fronts, we have a precedent set. Let's keep going.
We have more, our government's probably practicing more prejudice today than ever practiced in all the land so far as between the black and whites.
There was a quote that you made on the fight in Miami that Muhammad Ali participated in with Jerry Quarry. And, well, not in Miami, but in Atlanta. But black people always felt that Atlanta was the model city of the South because of its integration and because of the participation in economics of black people. And your statement on the day of the fight was something like this, that it's a dark day in Georgia because this fight is being put on. Now, the law of the land said that a man can participate in his particular profession unless he is in jail. I felt very happy that this fight took place in Atlanta. How did you feel about it?
I felt very sad.
And why was that?
Here's a man that has said, well, here I want to fight in the ring for money, but I won't even wear the uniform of my country. He says that I can't do this, but in other words, I'm going to act different from these other people who stand up for their country and put on the uniform. Had they not fought for this country, if they were not even fighting today and wearing this uniform, that he could not even get in a ring and fight and be a free man to
But
fight.
isn't it true
So
that-
he's helping to tear down this country with this philosophy, with this belief. Suppose every American, Mr. Brown, suppose every American had decided that they were not going to put on the uniform of their country and not fight for it.
So now, the conclusion that Mr. Maddox came to, was it a logical one? Let's go back. Let's think about something. The precedent that Mr. Maddox set was that he believed it was unconstitutional. It was against the law to force an individual to integrate or to force an individual to segregate. It was against the law. And so the reason why he felt that way is because there is no choice in the matter. You're being forced, which is the very definition of removing an individual's options in a situation. But then at the same time, do you see that Mr. Maddox is also saying that there should be no choice when it comes to an individual going off to war to fight individuals who they have no personal grievances with. And so you hear the rhetoric that he mentioned about individuals putting on the uniform and going to fight for their country. He was not willing to do that, Muhammad Ali, but he was willing to get in the ring and fight an individual for money. Now, is that a logical fallacy that he came up with? Because think about it for a sec. Think about it. The ability for Mr. Ali to get in the ring and fight his opponent, that ability is a choice that he makes. He can choose to fight, he can choose not to fight. But as Mr. Brown mentioned, this is his profession, and so he chooses to engage in this profession to take care of himself and his family. But now, when it comes to the situation of war, at that particular time, Muhammad Ali had been drafted. And the only thing that's being said here is not saying that it's wrong to fight for your country. That's left up to the individual. But the very decision to go and fight or not to fight should be a personal choice decided by each individual. And if it is a personal choice that's decided by each individual, there are undoubtedly going to be individuals that see things the way Mr. Maddox sees them. They're going to volunteer. So the conclusion that he reached is not one that's based on logic and clear thinking. We can see that emotion is starting to erode the discussion. It's starting to push logic out. Let's keep going.
We wouldn't have a United States of America, and I couldn't be on your show, and you probably wouldn't even have a show
Isn't it
tonight
true?
if everybody had had that attitude. And I don't like it, and I don't care whether you like it, don't care who don't like it.
Well, I did serve my time, which, of course, I was a little before Muhammad Ali, and I was not maybe as intelligent as he is, because he was the first individual, I think, in this country that came out and said he had nothing against the Viet Cong. I think there were two other politicians in the country that made a very similar statement later. The late Bobby Kennedy came back from Vietnam and basically said the same thing. At the time, it was not a popular stand to make, but today it is a very popular stand. In fact, we have a lieutenant that's on trial now for certain things that happened in Vietnam. But I am saying that this man followed the law of the land. He made his stand. He has been fighting through the courts. He has gone to the higher courts, and he will go to jail if he is proven guilty.
Well, I hope he does go. I hope, because I think he's guilty of treason.
Can I finish? Don't you feel that whenever a man goes through the courts, that he is abiding by the laws of the land, and that man who is willing to stand up with that decision is a brave man, regardless of what his beliefs might be?